Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chalavet Movies. My name is John, and this video is going to be my top 10 movies of 2023. That's the movies that were released in 2023. So actually all the movies I watched in 2023, I have really enjoyed them. So none of these I think are duds on this list. So at number 10 is The Meg 2. Now, I went into this thinking that I really enjoyed The Meg, and it was one of my favourite films of Jason Statham's career. And I think as a star and where the level he's on of this action star, I really rate him. I think he's a good watch. So I went to cinema knowing we know full well what this is going to be. It's going to be some cheesy fun. And if I'm honest, it wasn't as good as the first one. And the reason why I thought it wasn't as good as the first one is because when they go into the trench, which I thought would be a great part of the movie, it seems to stop. The whole walking across the floor, in the trench it's all ridiculous, this movie. I mean, I knew it was going to be like that. You didn't see too much of the Meg at that point, or Megs. And also, I felt that this whole underneath the water thing going to this other base wasn't really something that I really needed to see. I wanted to see more of the action taking place on the water surface. I thought that's when this movie came alive. So for me, the start and the finish was great. Really enjoyed it. It was just the sort of the middle bits fell a bit flat for me because it wasn't really the Meg, what I associate with the Meg. But I will go back and watch it because it wasn't a bad film. I just thought that bit in the middle kind of took me away from what I enjoyed about the first film. So at number 10, that's The Meg 2. At number 9 is Murder Mystery 2. Now the dev said to me, would you like to watch this movie? And I said, you do know it has Adam Sandler because you cannot stand Adam Sandler. Now we went to see The Wedding Singer years ago, obviously on the release of the cinema. And I said, what do you think of that? She says, well, I thought it was good, but I couldn't stand that bloke, the main bloke. And I said, well, he's all right. And he says, I just didn't like his voice. So she's kind of vetoed every Adam Sandler movie since then. And every time I mention something, she'd say, oh, Adam Sandler's that, I'm not going to watch it. So when she said she wanted to see this, I says, well, I don't want you whinging through it all that way, but she didn't. We thought, obviously, we had to go and watch the first one to get ourselves up to speed about what it's about. Now, this movie, this film is so funny. It's much more funny than I thought it was going to be. We had a blast with both of them. So for me, it is what it is. It's one of these murder mystery things which we quite enjoy. I think it's good as well. It's a bit like Manhattan Murder Mystery, the Woody Allen film, where the people that get inadvertently caught up in a murder mystery, and I think those type of movies really appeal to us, and we'll get a blast out of them. So Jennifer Aniston is great as always. And I hope they're going to make another one because we really were invested in this couple when they were getting sort of blundering into these mishaps to do with this capers, So yeah, highly recommended. That's at number 9. That's Murder Mystery 2. At number 8 is Fast X. Now we fully understand what these Fast and Furious movies are like, but we're going to blast out of them. I think from about Fast and Furious 4, we were investing it. The first 3, maybe even 4. They weren't that good. It's just when The Rock came into it and just the cast changed and it is ridiculous. The stuff they get up to is just unbelievable. It can't happen in real life, going into space and all this stuff and going down waterfalls. It's just ludicrous. But we know what we're getting into. And I think when you do that, when you just treat it with what it is, you're going to just get a laugh out of it. Don't take it seriously, for God's sake, because if you do, you're heading for a fall because it is. You can't take any of this franchise seriously, but I think they're all playing it with tongue in the cheeks, and we get a blast out of this whole family and the way it's going. And I just think that we will definitely go and see the other 2 that are part of. So we're going to make 13. They say this is the 10th one. No, they make 12 one because this was going to be in 3 parts. I mean, talk about wringing it out. But if I'm honest, they are enjoyable if you take them for what they are. So bad they're good and just a bit of a laugh. The characters are quite interesting and quite funny as well. Good to see other characters coming back in the mix when they were away for a couple of films. So it's just fast, cheesy, ludicrous fun. So at number 8, that's Fast X. So at number 7 is Saw X. Me and my son went to go and see this, and he said, "Do you want to go and watch the new Saw movie?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." I didn't think there was that much into them because he never watched, I think, the last 3. And we had a good time. I think it takes place. You can watch it. I'm trying to think. You can watch it kind of where it's supposed to be. I think between 2 and 3 or thereabouts. But it will show you a spoiler if you watch that before you watch probably all of them. It'll show you a spoiler right at the end for one of the ones that happen in the middle, or maybe 7 or 6. Quite confusing in a way. But as a storyline itself, I think it really works. And I would like to see him do a few more of these, which they're talking about, to get this character back, Jigsaw, before what happens to him. So this is, but it's really well done. And the only thing I would say about it is some of the traps are really bad. The one with the leg, with the woman with the leg and the saw, which is the razor wire, that's really bad for me. What has to happen in there? But I feel like I've been kind of desensitized to the traps, because the kind of, you think, nah, that's not. There's one with fingers, like breaking fingers. I don't like that at all. That's something that turns my stomach anyway. Anything to do with hands, I don't like. But I don't know. It's great. Don't get us wrong. I really enjoyed it. I thought they were quite inventive. But I just think that when you get the traps part of it, you think, yeah, we've kind of seen this before. But there was a lot in it that's kind of a little bit different to the usual Saw movies, although it had a few elements of the Saw movies, because it's got to have the traps in, hasn't it? But I think they'll come to a point where the traps will just be kind of, whatever. But not taking anything away from it, we did enjoy it, and it was a solid Saw movie, probably one of the best ones we've seen. Even my son said that as well. So number 7, that's Saw X. At number 6 is Cocaine Bear. Now, I said to Deborah when it first came out, do you want to go and see that? And she was kind of a bit unsure. And I said, look, it'd be great to go and see a kind of horror film-ish at the cinema. I think she could have took this one. So we didn't get around to it because I think the showings were like really stupid late time. It's 10 o'clock at night, so I never got to see it at the cinema. So when it came on Sky, we watched it. And when it first started, I thought, I don't think I'm going to like this. It didn't seem to appeal to me in any way, shape or form. But after maybe the first 15 minutes, so if you're feeling like I was, check out after the first 15 minutes when this movie comes to life. This movie is insane. It's so good. Some of the things that happen to these people, like the mishaps, the injuries they get, are absolutely amazing. Deborah was kind of thinking, oh my God, she wasn't screaming, but she had her head behind a pillar, and then she's going, oh my God, look what's happened to him. And there was things that happened when you didn't expect them to happen, like injuries, and you just think, oh my God. Sometimes you get yourself prepared for an injury, especially with hands and that type of thing, and then something happens, you think, oh my God, that caught me off guard. But I think it was such a good movie. I would love them to make more like this, because it's great to see a real throwback. This is a movie that could have kind of come out in the 80s, and you could have been watching a movie in the cinema in the 80s. You didn't get that vibe from a lot of movies these days. This was a real throwback for me. Obviously, it was the last movie to feature Ray Liotta, sadly. And it was great. It's great to see him in a good role. He's getting everything I've watched. I've always liked Ray Liotta, and it's just so sad that he had to leave us so soon. Yeah, but it's a fitting tribute to him. You went out on a high for me, if I can say that. But I do like the way that this movie just didn't shy away from showing injuries, and it went down that route of like this bear that's like out of his brain on cocaine, and it's insane in the membrane, and it's good to have a movie that does talk about that instead of thinking, no, I would like to make a movie like that, but can't these days. So at number 6, that's Cocaine Bear. So going into the top 5, I had to think it was hard to separate these movies. To be honest, it's so close. So you could say any one of these could be my top one. But I'm just putting them in the way I think about them at the moment, to how I feel about them when I looked at them. But if I watch these top 5 tomorrow, because I've only always seen them like once each, they might change. They might alter. So anyway, this is kind of top 5. It's not like they're all number 1. But this is where I've ranked them at this particular point. If I did this again next year, they could probably all change. But they were really solid movies that were very close together. So at number 5 is Evil Dead Rise. Me and my son went to see this. We had such a good time with this. This is such a great entry in the Evil Dead franchise. And it doesn't feature Ash anymore. On the last 2, it hasn't featured Ash, which is, it's not a problem. I would love them if they Ash to come back, but they can kind of get away with it now. If they go down this route, they can kind of do that. This movie does feel a bit kind of like Demons 2. It's set in a high-rise flat, which I thought at one point, it goes, well, where's the house? But because it takes place mainly in a room, it kind of feels a little bit like the house. It's got some really like injuries in here that you think, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that with that particular item. They might take a little bit more time preparing these movies. They might not go at them and say, oh, this one done really well, let's put one out tomorrow, and it fall flat in the face. I would like to think that they would make more, definitely. Maybe even the Ash vs. the Evil Dead series come back. That would be brilliant, because I love that series. In fact, I've loved everything about the Evil Dead. It is absolutely crazy, and it's just a franchise to me they can keep on, if they keep this standard up, this franchise can last forever. And I would like to think that the standards wouldn't go down in this franchise, because to me, every movie's been on a high. I want to give a special shout out to my good friend Michael Witchy, who is a huge fan of this franchise. And to me, I think, I'm not just saying that because I know him, he's probably the greatest fan of the Evil Dead movies, bar none. And I'll leave a link down to the live stream that we did together with Nige. It was a part of a Video Nasties live stream. And if you haven't seen it yet, do go out and check it out, because if you're interested in anything to do with the Evil Dead, you will not believe what he's got. He's got stuff that nobody else probably in the world has got. And I'm just saying that. It's literally one of a kind things he's got. Everything, and we haven't even scratched the surface. I think we're going to easily do another 2 streams with Mikey to talk about Evil Dead and to see his fantastic collection. And probably even then, you probably won't be able to see the whole lot. It's astounding. So anyway, this is a great one. And if you're interested in Evil Dead, and you actually, to start with this one, go back to the other stuff. If you start with them ones and you're a bit unsure about that, include this in it, because and the opening titles on it are one of the best opening titles ever. That's all I've got to say on that. Heavy on the go, really good. Good to see a movie getting an 18 certificate these days and going to see an 18. I like that. So, that's at number 5. That's The Evil Dead Rise. At number 4 is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. This is a great franchise. We didn't get into this franchise till about, I think, Fallout was going to come out. We saw the fact that Tom Cruise had really snapped his leg when he was doing a stunt, and we thought, oh wow, that looked a bit hairy, let's go and see it. So we kind of watched, I think we watched 6 first, or maybe we went back and watched the rest of them before we watched 6, or watched 6 then we went back and watched the rest of them. But we are firm favourites of this franchise. And actually, up until then, I wasn't really a fan of Tom Cruise, but after seeing that movie, Fallout, I thought I have got to get to see more of his stuff. And we do like his stuff, his recent stuff. I think he's a great action actor. So this movie carries on. Obviously, there's going to be 2 parts. I think the next one, part 2, is going to be the last one, unfortunately. Well, with him in it anyway. And it's a shame, because he's really carried this franchise on. But it's got some great set pieces in this. We were on the edge of our seats, especially at the end with the train. I was sitting going, this is just amazing. Seeing it at the cinema was really good as well. And it's a long film, but it went one of those ones where you think that you see the running time, you think, oh my God, how are we going to get through this? But it kept us captivated all the way through the movie. And as soon as we get out, the Deb said to us, I can't wait to watch the other ones, which we haven't done yet, but we will do, because this is a franchise we could watch over and over again because they're just so entertaining. So at number 4 is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. At 3, coming in like a twiddly-dee, don't know why I said that, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is another movie that I don't think we have seen this franchise. I think we saw maybe the second one at the cinema. I'm not too sure about that, but we've really enjoyed Guardians 1 and 2. The characters, I like the characters, I like the plot twists, I like everything about them. I like everything that happens to the characters, the way it goes. Actually, the main sort of star of this is Rocky Raccoon. I was thinking, oh, they're going down that route now. I thought, can he sort of carry this movie? But he can. There's some really good, quite weirdly enough, emotional parts of this movie when you're thinking, wow, this is really getting us, and you think it's just a movie, and this Rocky Raccoon, and he's just a little raccoon. But no, if you see the movie, you know about it. It's not a movie it's not a franchise or a trilogy that I find to be quite emotional, but this part was really emotional. I think it's done a really good, and they kind of tied it up in one ball as well, which is good, so you can watch these irrelevant of the other ones. And yeah, you can have a good time with this franchise, and I think it's probably the best part in the whole Marvel universe. Maybe there's a couple of Spider-Mans maybe might top it, but yeah, really, really pleased to see this at the cinema, and really surprised at how good it was. So at number 3, that's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So number 2 is John Wick Chapter 4. Now, there's been a lot of numbers in this top 10, hasn't there? This was highly anticipated by us. Couldn't wait to go and see it. This is the first one we've seen at the cinema. I think Deborah wanted to watch John Wick, so I watched John Wick, and I thought, wow, I'd put it off a long time. I thought, can Keanu Reeves actually do this type of movie? Well, he can do it in spades. Now, this franchise has got a little bit more crazy that goes along. It's now the main thing I thought about this movie was it kind of got to the point, it kind of felt a little bit more like a martial arts movie from an Asian martial arts movie. And by that I mean there's a lot more things you've got to kind of suspend your belief, and you've got to say I mean, the injuries that people get would kill most people, but they don't with this character and this people in this movie. I think it's a throwback to martial arts cinema where people can get the most horrendous injuries and kind of live through them or kind of brush them off. So I think the fact that these people are doing what they're doing and they're not really showing the real pain that you would have in this predicament isn't a problem for me. I can say that it lends to the kind of the mystery of the whole John Wick thing. It puts it into a different kind of legendary status when these martial artists, these martial arts movies from Asia, they do try like Crying Freeman and like Fist and was it Fist and North Star somewhere and Ricky, the story of Ricky. These people are going through hell, but they come out of it the other side. And yeah, so this kind of happens in this movie, but yeah, it was just so good. Another long movie, which I thought we're gonna get through this because we really wanted to see it, but some of the set pieces in here go on forever, which I like. I love an action film that has these really incredibly long fight scenes, if they're good, and I can get away with them, like the Raid 2, have these huge, never-ending fights in them, but they're so good to watch. Just can't get enough of it. So this one here, I mean, it's funny because I'm saying, the top five could be number one. This could be number one. If I watch it tomorrow, I could say, yeah, I'm definitely putting this on number one. So they're all quite interchangeable, but I really, really enjoyed this movie. And for me, I just think this franchise is getting better. So if this franchise carries on, that's great. If it ends on this one, that's also great. They can do both for me. So at number two, that's John Wick, Chapter 4. Okay, so number one in my movies released in 2023 is Barbie. Yes, Barbie. I can't believe I'm actually saying that. I mean, when it got announced, I said to Deborah, do you want to go and see this? She says, absolutely not. And I said, well, it seems like it's going to be fun. And by that, I mean, it's not going to be, I don't know how to explain how this is going to work, but I'm just with Ryan Gosling coming in. I thought with him doing it, it just lends a bit weight to it. I don't know how to even describe how I thought about it, but anyway, we went to see it. And when it first started, I was thinking, is this going to go anywhere? Is this going to, but actually, when I watched it after about 15 minutes, I thought, I'm really enjoying this. This movie is absolutely crazy. I can't even believe that somebody actually said to anybody, let's make a movie like this, and went to some people and let's finance it. And they would have said, yeah, no problem. I mean, it's been a big smash hit. And if they do a Barbie 2, I would love them to carry on in the same vein. It's got a lot of stuff that we watch it together, but if you're watching it with a kid could get some stuff out of it, but the adults could get their bit out of it because a lot of stuff in it that kind of you can have a good laugh at. I just think the characters of Ken and Barbie are just absolutely brilliant. And Ken is just this crazy bloke who is really, well, he's thick. He doesn't understand anything. And the fact that when they go in, because they come out of the Barbie world, they go into the real world, and he thinks that the best. He looks in this book in the library, and he reads it, and he sees president sitting on a horse. So he thinks to be really clever, you've got to sit in a horse. So he goes back to Barbie world, turns it into Ken world, and they go around wearing this ridiculous clothes. And the fight on the beach when he has a fight with this other bloke on the beach. Well, called Ken. They're all called Ken, apart from one bloke, I can't remember his name, but he keeps going, I'm Alan or something. They go, oh, yeah, whatever. But everyone's called, hello, Ken, you all right, Ken? Yeah, I'm all right, Ken. Where are you going? I'm just going to see Ken. Where's he? With Barbie. Hello, Barbie. All right, Barbie. And all the other Barbies. Hello, Barbie. It's great. I just really, really enjoyed it. It looks sensational as well. I mean, the colours were just so like pink and everything just really popped out the screen. Had such a blast with it. It was so funny. It was so it was just like a breath of fresh air. It was a film that I just couldn't even think I would have been invested in as a movie. I thought it would be one you could watch in like a half-hour skit or something on Saturday Night Live. You could get away with it for 5 minutes. But apparently, well, to make a movie, they've done a real feat, I think, and can't wait to run it on 4K. I'm going to get it actually when I next go to HMV. It's always been high on my list to get, but I can't believe they've done a Blu-ray box set for it and not a 4K box set for it. So maybe I'm going to hang out a little bit because I don't want to double dip on this movie. But even though I think it's, at this point, I think it's the best movie I've seen in 2023. But like I say, I could watch Evil Dead Rise tomorrow and that could be transported over. I could watch Barbie a second time and not think it was that good, but I would still enjoy it, I would imagine. So there you go. That's my top 10 for 2023. We'll keep an eye out for another one coming up, which would be my top 10 movies that weren't released in 2023, but the ones I actually saw in 2023. I'm going to talk about the ones that are first time watchers rather than saying, I watched The Elephant Man last year, so The Elephant Man wouldn't have been number one. So I wouldn't do that because it would be a bit predictable, wouldn't it? But anyway, thanks for watching. You take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.